Hey viewers, and today we're going to be focusing on a form for HabitBud, which is a sign up form. And my name is Roy, I'm a web designer. If you do find the content useful, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and let's get into the video. Okay, so what we're going to focus on is a couple of things, and what I'm just going to put in here is mindset. Mindset really is probably nearly anything you create in your design is potentially reusable. But if you think of it as reusable, then hopefully you're going to save yourself a lot of work down the line. If you can create an app, if you can create tables, forms. So one good reference that I always use in all the videos is Tailwind CSS. And when it comes to dark mode, it's knowing what colors to use and what to change to when you toggle light and dark. We're not going to get too much into the toggling, we're just going to focus on colors to use for dark mode. So a lot that you see here is referenced in Tailwind CSS. This might not be perfect, but for example, you got certain colors that you should use. So we're going to kick it off with an inspiration that I just grabbed from Roblox. So here we have a typical sign up form and birthday. What I did straight away is just to test, so I hit sign up. You got some validation. That always seems to be something that people can forget quite easily, myself included. So, and even having this button disabled to begin with, because you can't do anything unless you've done these first. So anyway, let's just kick it off with a brand new frame, the F key. And we are going to make this big, so 1920 by 1080, and let's see if we can keep this under 30 minutes, so that'll be very nice as well. So straight away we're going to make the background a dark grey 900. We're also going to introduce the logo, which I haven't even got in. So we got HabitBud right there. Go back to design system, we paste that in, and can I shrink this down just for speed without being so precise? Yes, you can. Great. So this didn't shrink it down perfectly, so let's see if I just click in there. If I just hit this one here, that does not work. And what if I do it here? That doesn't work either. And then, oh, just ignore that. So yeah, that's interesting. Why it should adjust, but it's not, because I've done it in the shortcut way, which is not always the best way. I just expand it for now. Okay, so here if I go to the frame, resize, no, it's not working. Wow. Ooh, okay, here, auto width, there we go. That was a terrible start. So we have the logo, and now we're going to introduce the main heading. So text T, and then we'll say sign up. And this is already straight away I know is going to be text grey or grey/200. And we're not going to use the same font. We're going to go to Atkinson. We're also going to say that this is 24 pixels, or we could go to 32. Again, we're using the 8-point grid, and we are going to then say bold. So sign up and start building habits. Okay, might not be as enticing as that, but we are going to just reference that. So the other thing as well, we're going to start building the form elements. So you can see here, headline dark grey 200, which is what I did there. Text is grey 400. Okay, so we're actually going to start off with the input background, dark gray 700. Okay, so we hit the T and we'll just say input, and the text is going to be dark gray 200, but the background, which we are going to convert to an auto layout, Shift A. Oop, did I do that? Okay, click outside, Shift A. We are going to make the background a gray of 700, if I can see that properly. Yep, dark gray 700, and we're going to make this regular and smaller. 18 is going to be our base size text, and then this one we are going to bring the line height a bit more, so let's say 24. So I know a user had a comment about what is the standard size for a button. So I don't know if this is standard, but for Apple they recommend at least 44 pixels height because of your finger when you're tapping, or they call it the fat finger. So it has to be big enough to tap. So 44 pixel height is a good reference, so I'm just going to use that. Even though this is not a button, this is an input field, but you still have to touch the screen if it's going to be on the phone. So that's the background, just to make sure I got the text. Yeah, so the input text is going to, I know it's the same as the headline, and then what we're going to do is we are just going to introduce a label. So if I group that, and then we're going to bring in a label that is going to be text gray 400. So it's not going to be as strong as this one, and I could be totally wrong, but again we're practicing. So again I go Shift A, this is going to be on top, but the spacing between them is going to be a lot less, so let's say 4. And then this one we're going to introduce another label, which is the validation text. So it's good practice to put this in, which is what we did on the last design system. And something you can see here already. So invalid birthday must be set first, for example. And what we're going to do as well is we are going to, let's just think now. So we can also put that in a group, and we are then going to say, let's see if this works. So if we give it a width of 375, okay, let's say 480 for landscape mobile phone, for example. Okay, so and then if we go to this frame, can we set it to fill container? Nice. Okay, great. And then put that in the middle. Okay. So here we have our label, our validation text, and our input field. So straight away I can hit Alt Command K, which converts it to a component, and then there's the variant, which we're going to do in a minute. So this is another way that we can do, we're not going to do these two, but we're going to focus on these three. So month, day, year. I'm not putting these in mainly because it would be nice to have a female character, but I haven't done that. So we're just going to focus on these three. And one thing I'm going to put in as well is but actually, because this is already a component, I'm pretty sure I can put in something. So this is another way to do an arrow or drop down arrow. So if I just, okay, probably not. If I get out of that, and is it the P for pen tool? Nice. So I'm just going to click twice, make this 8 pixel wide. Let's also make this text gray 200. where am I going with this? So we are also going to put a point in the middle. So you can see it kind of snaps to it, and then I click there, escape. This might be the very long-winded way of doing it, but I thought this is quite a nice. Also, it didn't seem to add that point for me. If I do it again, go right in the middle. Is that doing it? Not doing it, no. I must be doing it totally wrong. Okay, I'm putting a point there. Can we, if I click on that, okay, and then I'm going to hit, okay, it's probably a totally wrong way. I'm sure there's a better way, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm doing this totally wrong, but it's fine, right? We're practicing. Just go back, click there, and straight away you've got that drop down arrow. And the reason why I've done it like that is now you've got the 8-point grid, or kind of along those lines, so 8 width, 4 height, and we're going to give it, we are not an effect, with the stroke we are then going to say round and round. You've got a nice round effect. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool, and we're probably going to make it 2 pixels. Can we do 2 pixels? Yeah, we can. Cut that. Let's go back to our input field, paste that in. Nice, okay, so I did that. Now we have to then say space between vertically aligned. Great. But we're also going to just make these be a bit more generous with spacing. That might be too much, so let's say 16 and 16, and let's say 8 and 8. So now the height has gone a bit down, so let's make the line height a bit bigger, so 28. And are we back to 44? Great. Okay, so we now have one component, and what we're going to do, we're not going to do variance right now. What we're going to do is, you can take that out. So now you have, and we have an input field component. And then what we're going to do, go to assets, go to design system, drag it, and we're going to copy, yeah, okay. So now you can see how quickly you can get these 3 things, and you can see even on there the contrast is not that great, which is a challenge with dark mode. You want to try and get the contrast right. Again, we might not be perfect on this, but again, it's good practice. And one thing, so for example, let's put in some real text. So username, birthday must be set. Birthday must be set first. So it's quite nice to just to put in these real text. Password, at least 8 characters. At least 8 characters. And the thing is, this is placeholder text, so should it be that bright? But I'll leave that for now. So don't use your real name. Okay, that's a really good tip that they're giving. Don't use your real name. As at least there's 2 separate words, and it is, of course it is. Okay, so we've done those. But in these cases, we don't want this icon, so go back to layers, we can just hide it. But now we actually want this to be packed. This one as well, we're going to just hide, and we also want that to be packed as well. Great. And then, we're on 16 minutes. We need to do this 3-column one here. So let's see how to tackle that. That's interesting. So here I can go into this frame. Now this is kind of 3 columns, but sharing the same label. So I'm going to Command G to group. Did that do it? It won't do it because it's in a component. So if I detach, okay, it might not be a good practice to do that, but we are just practicing. So here I'm going to do Command G, and then I'm going to Command C, Command V, and then bring that back in that group, and then do it again, bring it back in the group. Okay, but now I'm going to do Shift A. That converts it to auto layout, and I want it to wrap, but not that wide. We need it to shrink. So we actually want, so let's see how this works. Hug contents to make it small. That's a quick way of doing it. Hug contents and hug contents. But the actual width of this, we want it to be to fill the container, which is not doing it. So can we say hug content? No. Maybe we can. So now we go back, we say fill. Okay, we probably have to go back to that frame. Can we fill container? There we go. You're going back and forth between hug and fill. So I haven't mastered that bit yet, but you can see just tinkering with it, fill and hug, you'll get to this layout eventually. Not the best, but this is why we practice. It's just chopping and changing and testing things out, seeing how it goes. As you can see, you know, this is just, that's how you practice really. You find these things out. And then here we're gonna space between, and this we can make a component as well. And then space between. Okay, so they said birthday, day, month, and then year. Okay, so there we go, day, month, year. And then the last one, well, it's not really the last one, but it's the button, right? So again, we are going to copy that one, and we're just going to drag it down, but we need to align these better, space them better. So what does that mean? We just select all of them, Shift A puts it into an auto layout, spacing between them, let's say 24. Maybe that is too big, so let's say 24. Okay, great. They love center aligning the main heading. I don't see a problem with that. So we can center it in a minute. Well, this could be part of this auto layout as well. So we could, so here's, yeah. But for now we won't. So this is going to be the button. So we'll just delete that. Now this, delete that as well. Practically delete everything. And here I'm going to say, oh, why is it going to fix height? We don't want to fix height. We want that to, yeah. Okay, we need to detach again because we're now creating a button. And can we fill contain? No, we want to. Okay, it's not working. This is hug contents, and that one for some reason it won't resize. Okay, there you go, it did. This we can resize as well. Okay, so whew, that was a lot of playing around, wasn't it? Again, we go back to the inspiration, sign up. sign up, and that one is right in the middle. So we go back to this auto frame, we want it to align in the middle, and we're going to want that one to be bold. Now the main CTA is white, but we want to show off it being disabled first, so naturally go with something like this, but to show that it's disabled, let's say, how would you show it's disabled? Would it be the same color as those? Gray 700, potentially, it could be. So this is where, again, testing how a disable button would look is interesting in dark mode. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. And then what we also have is some text here, which is a good exercise as well. So what I'm going to do, rather than copy every text there, which will take time, we're just going to bring in a text item here. We're going to just type some random text. So let's make that text gray 400. And we are then going to use the Lorem Ipsum plugin to introduce a paragraph, and it's not going to work because I'm not using the internet at the moment. So let's just use their text. Let's see, I'm very bad at typing. By clicking sign up, you are agreeing to the terms of use. Is there a full stop? No, there isn't. Including, wow, there's other stuff. Including, I'm not going to roll that. Including the privacy policy. Okay. So very terrible text there, but just a sample. Can we say to fill container? Great. And then we're going to go back, we get rid of the bold, we say regular. We're going to stick with 18. And now one thing about dark mode is, how do you then make text links work with colors? That is another thing to consider. So we're just going to bring these up a bit. So we've got two colors here. So terms of use and privacy policy. And with HabitBud, we are saying that red is going to be the brand color. So if we go back to the design system, what Tailwind recommend, or what they've done on some of their stuff, great stuff by the way, is the text link red 400. So on the 400 range. Okay, so we are going to then go here, and we are going to go with rose, because I remember that is what the brand color is, and there you go. So slightly lighter. The saturation is not too heavy, and we're going to do the same with privacy policy. So hopefully these stand out enough. Okay, so there you go. And just to clean stuff up, we are also going to put that in. So I'll just label that logo and label that form. We're going to make this part of the form. Get rid of that frame. And we're going to put this right at the top just by hitting the arrow key. See how quick that is? It's just so cool. And we're probably going to, can we align that in the middle? No, you can't. So we have to then put that in an auto layout, Shift A, but we don't want any padding or any spacing. However, we can make the margin bottom more, so 16, let's say. And lastly, we can center it. And we can't. Why not? Why can't we center it? We have to use the text center. Whoa, nothing is centering. Why do you not want to center today? Fill container and then center. There you go. Hopefully that is good enough. We can put these into an auto layout, so Shift A. You can see this is like Inception auto layout. You're putting everything within an auto layout because that's kind of how Flexbox works. And then the padding on the margin bottom from the logo, 32 pixels. Again, we're sticking with the 8-point grid. Can we center a line? Fill container. There we go. So we got a dark mode form. We figured that out. Not 100% perfect, but again, birthday, validation text, username, password, some terms and conditions, and then CTA. So that is pretty sweet. Under 30 minutes. So if I was to copy that, so let's just see how it looks with a white CTA. So we're going to go with the lightest grey. Oh, that didn't work, did it? We're going to go with the lightest grey for contrast, and then we want to go text 200. No, sorry, what am I doing? We want to go opposite, so the darkest grey, and there you go. Not too bad, is it? And there's little things like, for example, if there is validation, there's the variance, but just as a very quick example, we can add a stroke, and we are going to go with 400. It's going to be 2 pixels on the outside. Actually, this is a focus ring that Tailwind do as well. So I think that's just a rough example of the focus ring. And but do you actually want it to be red? Because that always normally associates with error text. So the other color we're going to do for focus is blue. Nice. And then let's test this out. So I created everything from here. Okay, so if we wanted to make all of the border radiuses, if we wanted to change that, we could just go to this one. Let's see if this works. This might totally not work. Let's say 8 pixels. Whew. You see that? Everything went to 8, except from these two, because I detached them. This is why you don't detach, right? So that's the downside when you detach. So now I'm just going to go in, because remember we did our shape for the brown, which is round circles. So you can then use that same thing, like the logo here, use that in all your elements. Okay, these are reasons why. Another reason why using border radius is good as well, not just design. Is because you're repeating the shapes of the brand. There you go. So simple things like that, it makes a big difference. And then one thing I made earlier, just to test it out, let me just copy paste that again. Let's see if this works. Right, so I made this background here. Now if you're interested to make it, go for it. All it is, I'm using the shape of the logo. I created a mask. I put in 5 circles with 5 colors at 500 range. You can see that, pretty sweet. Let's copy that back to the design system. It's not really a design system, but you know. And then put it there. Let's send this to the back. Okay, so adding a bit of the branding, but obviously that's the contrast is terrible. So if we select the whole group, let's add an effect, and let's say layer blur. Let's say 96. Ooh, no, terrible. Ooh, that didn't really work, did it? It's not working the way I intended it to work. So if I select this group, and I then go to layer blur, and I go to 96 and it still didn't work. Pardon me. Man, why is that not working? Interesting. So if I label that BG for background, terrible naming, I don't think, and we go to, there we go, okay. So once you have a group, well, I've got 3 groups. Don't know why I got 3 groups. Let me try on this group. So effects, layer blur, yeah, okay. So we got another group, a third group. So you got the children, parent, grandparent. It's terrible again. But here, if I go to effects, layer blur, actually, is it going to work? 90, yay, nice. So again, we're going back to that trend that we set at the beginning, where we got that nice blurry background. Okay, but as you can see, these are not that. The contrast is not that great on the labels. Okay, so that is the reason why the Roblox have got a container with a slightly dark grey over the images. So that essentially is probably what we should do. So we can see here that, or you could challenge it. We could make these brighter, right? So if we are going to have a background behind, we have to make these brighter. We don't have a choice, right? So can I make these text grade 2? Okay, I think the contrast is better. Same with these. We want those to be text grade 2, but rather than me selecting all of them, I can go back here and say I want those labels to be text grade 2. So let's go here and change it there, and everywhere else it should change. And did it change? It didn't change on these because again we detached it. So here we just go here and then say text grade 2, much better. Okay, so the contrast now is way better. Okay, great. So that is HabitBud. That wraps up this project, 34 minutes. So I do hope you enjoyed this project. Oh, another thing you could do there is make that a mask, right? So if I was to select, bring that over, select both, subtract, so I got distracted, and you see that you got the colors going through. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Roy. I'm a web designer. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next project.